So today we brought in Propius, and he will let us know about his view on chariot racing.
In every city, the population has been divided for a long time into factions. So there grows up in them against their fellow men a hostility, and even women join with them in this unholy strife. I, for my part, am unable to call this anything except a disease of the soul.
Hi, I am Dr. Insomnia, and I am here to help you with your depression or loneliness. Just come down to my office, and you won't have to play alone like this guy. I will be your one true friend. I wouldn't let the ball just go away like that either. I would hit it back to you. You wouldn't have to cry alone like this guy right here. You won't have to hide under a table. When you play foosball with me, you'd only be touching handles. I wouldn't let you play alone. It's just sad. I'd block that goal right there too. You wouldn't have a fake goal. You wouldn't be pounding your fist like that either.
We are back, and Procopius is going to let us know why he sees chariot racing as it is.
So there are 4 factions of racing in chariot races. And there's blue, green, white, or red. And members of society support each faction differently. And at races, the supporters will get into fights and feuds, and it's just horrible. And I feel that this is disrupting societal patterns, and it's horrible. So JD, which side do you support?
I'm gonna have to go with blue, with the Emperor Vitellius. How about yourself?
Well, I wear blue just so the Emperor doesn't get mad at me. But I personally support red.
Oh, really now? You wanna go?
John David, I hear you were involved with the development of the Circus Maximus, which is one of the chariot racing courts. Will you please tell me some of the aspects of this course?
Well, the Circus Maximus itself can seat more than 350,000 people, which is a lot of people if you really think about it. And there were 12 racing blocks for each chariot. So you'd have one for each chariot, and you'd have 12 chariots depending on how big the race was. And it was standard length, so you would do 7 laps, and it would equal about 8.4 kilometers.
How long would it take?
Somewhere around 15 minutes, give or take. The racers crashing into each other.
Crashing into each other. Is this like along with the feuds with the factions?
Well, yeah, it's a competition. The first one to the finish line, right?
Yeah, so
After
try to take each other out.
Yeah, after the first lap, anything goes, and until you finish.
Man, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, sometimes when the chariots would collide, the driver would fall out and get trampled by the ones behind them.
So there were deaths involved with this.
There were some very tragic deaths involved with this.
Man, imagine how that just made the feuds in society worse. One team killing another one.
Pretty brutal. So today marks the 100th anniversary of Rome. Why don't you describe that to us?
Okay, so 100 years ago today, Romulus became king. He became king when the priests put Romulus and his brother Remus on 2 different hilltops. And when birds flocked over Romulus, they decided that he would become the ruler of Rome. Remus did not like this decision, however. And Remus fought Romulus. John David, who won?
Romulus won after Remus disagreed.
So he won the fight. Did he kill his brother?
Yes, he killed him, and it was very tragic.
Sounds like it. Well, that was 100 years ago. We don't need to worry about it.
So we have a guest speaker here to show us how Romulus and Remus were raised and possibly what the wolf looked like.
So Romulus and Remus, they were raised by a wolf because they were left to die in the woods. This wolf found them, and it raised them, nourishing them and becoming their mother, pretty much. And the place they were found is where they went back to start the civilization on the Tiber River. And Romulus won the right to become king, and that's how the empire was started.
What came after Romulus killing Remus?
Well, the government turned into a republic, which is a representative democracy. The citizens voted and brought 300 Senate people into office. There were also 2 consuls.
Have you been seeing things such as people with dog heads? If so, you may be experiencing Canis lupus hallucinations. If you do not get treated for this immediately, you will die. It'll be a very tragic and painful death by dogs. So if you have been experiencing this, call the number on the screen. Thank you. Goodbye.
He's not that person yet. Yeah, he is. Okay, let's shake hands. I'm done with you.
Breaking news! Mount Vesuvius just erupted. We will now send you to our reporter on scene.
Yeah, it's complete chaos over here in Pompeii. The lava's coming in from down there. I don't know if I'm safe over here at the water's edge. It's moving very fast, like 70 miles per hour. I'm scared to death. I just hope I'm gonna be safe over here. Goodbye, world.
We are now 20 hours into the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, and it is still going. Procopius, would you like to tell us what it is like out there?
It's scary.
How many people do you think have died so far?
I'd say by the end, there's going to be 20,000 casualties.
It's a lot of people.
A lot.
How much ash do you think has fallen in the last 20 hours?
At least 16 feet. That's a lot. That's like pipeline size.
Well, there you have it. So after 24 hours of Mount Vesuvius erupting, it has finally subsided, with a result of more than 2,000 people dead. There was 16 feet of ash that was at 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, and it wiped out basically all of Pompeii. There's still some remains, but we are waiting to see once all the lava subsides.
Have you ever wanted to participate in the Olympics down in Greece? Well, here's your opportunity.
Take your mark.
3 athletes just died in
Set.
Pompeii. So areas are open up in shot put, 100-meter dash, and the long jump. If you want a chance to do this, just come over to the Coliseum near you, and you will get to try out.
Procopius, get up.
Ugh.
So, we're going to shed some light on the fact that we just won the 3rd Punic War.
We did?
So, Procopius, would you like to shed some light on what the Punic Wars were about and maybe some places that Rome conquered during them?
So, the Punic War started when Carthage attacked Sicily, and Rome responds by sending over naval ships, and they attack Carthage. And they win these series of naval battles, and they tell Carthage that they must stay away from Rome. They have a boundary that is set, and this is a treaty that is signed. But the leader Hannibal breaks the treaty, and that's when the Second Punic War starts. And this is when Hannibal and elephants invade Rome through the Alps and another mountain chain called the Pyrenees. And they invaded Italy successfully, taking out almost every city along the line that they went in. And then they had to go back for supplies since they were very low. And then one of the Roman people, generals, named Scipio Africanus attacks Carthage. And that's what makes Hannibal return, other than supplies, because he knows if they push further, then Scipio and his army will take out more of Carthage. And Scipio gives Carthage back to Hannibal, and there's peace. But the Third Punic War happens because Rome makes demands that Carthage refuses. And they're basically asking for war because they're telling Carthage things like, break your city down and move farther away. But Carthage sees this as, like, stupid, and they just don't do it because why would you? And the Third War broke out, and they seized Carthage and burned it. And they made all of the citizens there slaves, and they sold them off. So yeah, that's how we won, John David.
It's quite the war.
Yeah, it spanned over 80 years. That happened before I was alive. I'm 75 years old. So, JD, which side do you support?
You know, I'd have to say blue with the Emperor, but Vitellius. You know,
So you're one of those blue guys.
yeah, man.
Same dog.
I don't think that's gonna be the answer.
And John David, what else happened?
During the Punic Wars.
Yes.
I don't know what you're expecting me to say.
Yep.
We'll just crop that out. Do you know any of the approximate sizes of the Circus Maximus?
Well, there were several, and spectators were, I don't know. Yeah.
Can you describe what they would vote on, like just any random subject?
I don't know.